Hi, family. My name's Betty. Let's talk about shadow work. So, this is something that you'll hear a lot. This is actually something that I do in my own coaching business. I take people through shadow work. I think a big misconception of shadow work in spiritual integration and spiritual awakening is you think that you can just kind of dive into all of these shadow aspects of yourself and then you're going to be okay. Unless you have a foundation in faith, in light, in source, in service, insert whatever word resonates most for you here. Unless you have a foundation in spirit, you cannot just go like walking into some dark cave in the recesses of your mind to find the shadow aspects of yourself. So, what I do with people and what I'm going to share right now is that you have to have a firm foundation in light. So, how do you do that? Well, there's different aspects to the light version of us. So, there's a divine feminine and a divine masculine version of our light. The divine feminine light is all about intuition, creativity, compassion, empathy, vulnerability. The masculine light is all about organization, action, logic, reason, adaptability. So, those are all aspects that need to be cultivated in order to start doing the deep inner work. I definitely made this mistake myself in my spiritual integration journey where I just hopped right into the shadow. I didn't pay attention to the fact that I had other manifestations of my addiction popping up. So, just in case you don't know who I am, let me just tell you a little brief overview. I've been in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction for nearly 5 years. Next month, I'll have 5 years clean. My clean date is June 1st, 2019. I had a spiritually transformative experience about 2 months before that kind of catapulted the whole thing into action. And I also I am in eating disorder recovery. I've been free of my eating disorder behaviors for about 2.5 years from binging and purging, about a year and a half from laxative and enema abuse. And I also am in sugar addiction recovery. I haven't had sugar in over 7 months. So there's lots of aspects to my addiction. So when I started diving into the shadow of myself, I didn't know about any of those other aspects. I mean, I did, but I wasn't paying attention to them. So, in order for me to combat my shadow, those different manifestations of addiction just kept coming up and attacking me. So, while I was doing shadow work, my binging and purging aspect of my eating disorder, man, it ruled my life. It was like every second of every day. Even at work, I would be in the bathroom puking, and it was like a multi-stall bathroom, and people would come in. Man, it was just so debilitating and it was completely out of my control. So I always tell clients, friends, family, anybody who's interested in diving into the shadow version of themselves, you absolutely must have a foundation in light. So, ways to cultivate your light is to get in touch with that divine feminine and divine masculine energy aspect of yourself. So, number one way is to access your divine mother and your divine father. That's always a great first step in accessing your light. So, your divine mother, what does she look like? What qualities does she possess? Like, if you could pick the most ideal version of a mother for yourself, or like goddess, like mother God, what would it look like? What would it feel like? So, for me, I call on the energy of Mary Magdalene, I call on the energy of Isis, and I call on the energy of Shakti. And those are the attributes that make up my divine feminine energy. And for my divine father, I call on the energy of Jesus, Moses, I call on the energy of Buddha. And those are some of the energies that make up my divine masculine energy. And by having that sort of like I can sculpt them into what they look like. And so by doing that, it really helps me to move forward. Another aspect would be in the divine masculine is figuring out what does your inner warrior look like. So for me, my inner warrior is Native American. He wears this big headdress. He's like covered in blood and he's awesome. He's like so cool. He has like war paint on and he is legitimately like my strength, my courage, my bravery. I call on him. So when I go dive into my shadow, I'm calling on my inner warrior to come with me because I need that courage to look at these dark aspects of myself. And then again, for the divine feminine, to call on the most compassionate spiritual version of myself. So again, like she has some definition to her. She is like very etheric looking, almost translucent, and she wears this pink veil, and she's very patient and tolerant and compassionate. And I have to call on her in the same situation when diving into the shadow work. So I just wanted to share some of those little useful tips. Getting in touch with the divine feminine and the divine masculine is the key to shadow work. It's about alchemy of the two energies, the yin and the yang. So you know that you have the bulk of the color in each aspect of the yin and the yang. And then you have the little circle. So that is the light and the shadow. Divine masculine light, divine feminine shadow, divine feminine light, divine masculine shadow. So it's all about balance of all of those energies. It's not about killing your shadow or dismissing or rejecting your shadow. It's about integrating your shadow. And when you can have all of those pieces of yourself working in harmony for you to live your most fulfilled, purpose-filled life, you're unstoppable, baby. If I can do it, literally fucking anyone can. Okay. I used to be a crackhead, and today I'm talking about divine feminine, divine masculine energy. Totally, totally transformative. Reach out for support if you need it.